All right, we're going to work through some various factoring strategies to see if we can't help you break some of these problems down. Here we go. First of all, if there are no plus or minus signs, you're simply going to reduce above and below. So here, no plus or minus, so now you can divide top to bottom. Please note, is as simple as it gets. You cannot divide these by each other. The best you can simplify this to is this. That's it. Okay? Please do not reduce these any further once you get them there. All right. So without positive and negative signs, we can reduce. So first I'm going to do the numbers. So this becomes 6 divided by 2 is 3. X squared divided by x squared is 1, so I'm not going to write anything down. Y cubed divided by y squared is y. By our rule, y3 minus 2 is equal to y. So I'm going to write that y right here, and these are done. 10 and 18 can be reduced if you divide both by 2, which is 5 over 9. So I'm just going to keep this going, 5 over 9. Remember, whoops, that was not a pretty 9. Let's take care of that real quick. Remember, this is all over 1, so this is still in the numerator. All right. There is nothing to divide x cubed by, so I'm going to keep x cubed up. Y to the 4th divided by y squared, so we have y4 divided by y squared is equal to y4 minus 2, which is y squared. So that's also in the numerator. These cancel out. X cubed was done. 10. All right, now I have everybody. So right now the only thing I have in the denominator is 9, but these can also reduce. So go back and check. So this becomes 1. This becomes 3. So now the only thing I see in our denominator is 3. Combine like terms, so I have a 5. Nothing else to combine it with. I have x, that's x cubed. So 5x cubed, and I have y squared, and y is y cubed, and that's everybody, and that's that answer. Okay. Next, if there are positive and negative signs, the next question you should be asking yourself is this a difference of two squares? Because if it is, this is the formula that you use to find that result. In this case, here, I have my a term, x, my b term is 1, okay? So x squared minus 1 using this formula is equal to x plus 1, right here, x minus 1. That is how you factor a difference of two squares. This is the formula. Pretty simple. This one's a little harder. So if it's not the difference of two squares, the next thing you should be asking yourself is this a difference of two cubes? Well, in this case it is, and I'm going to show you the cube. It is 2x cubed minus 1 cubed. And actually I should have added in here, is this a sum or difference of two cubes? So we're going to apply the appropriate pattern. This is for the sum. This is for the difference. We have a difference. In our case, a is 2x, b is 1, and so then I just apply the pattern. And so this becomes 2x minus 1, and then I have 2x, now don't make a mistake here, squared, it's the whole term, plus 2x times, or a times b, which is 2x, because 2x times 1, plus b squared, which is 1. So now I'm going to take this down here and expand it. So my total here, or my finished product here, is 2x minus 1, 4x squared plus 2x plus 1, and that is the final answer. If you do not think this works, you need to check it out for yourself. It does work out, I promise. But you need to check it if you're not trusting it, because you can always multiply these back by each other to check. So these are the two formulas for the difference of two cubes. Something else that you can ask yourself, is there anything, and in fact this I should have put this further up in the slide order, You should always ask yourself this question first, because this looks like a difference of 2 cubes, but that's not a cube. And I can't factor anything out. It's definitely not the difference of 2 squares. So I'm going to factor out everything I can. I can factor out 2 out of both terms. I can factor in x out of both terms. So now I have x squared minus 16. Well, isn't that interesting? Because now I have the difference of 2 squares. I can continue on using that formula I had before, so I have 2x times x plus 4, x minus 4, because if I was going to rewrite this in the format for the difference of 2 squares, I would have x squared minus 4 squared in order to get it to output to this formula. And that's as simple as that expression gets. Okay. When all else fails, use the quadratic formula. This is not my preferred method, but if it is absolutely not occurring to you, you can absolutely use this to help generate some of those factors that you can then use to cancel. So here's the quadratic formula. Write it down. Remember that it's of the form ax squared plus bx plus c. Okay? So in this case, my a is 1, my b is 1, my c is negative 6. So I'm going to plug this into that formula. So I have x equals negative 1 plus or minus the square root of 1 squared minus 4 times 1 times negative 6 divided by 2 times 1. Okay, so now I have negative 1 plus or minus square root of, so negative 4 times negative 6 is 24, plus 1 is 25, well that's nice, over 2. This is equal to negative 1 plus or minus 5 over 2, which is equal to, I'm going to go into 2 sets now, negative 1 plus 5 is 4 over 2, which is 2, so x is equal to 2, or x is equal to negative 1 minus 5, which is negative 6 divided by 2, that one's negative 3. Now, I told you this is going to generate factors, and it is, except remember, what I've just found is your 0. What makes the expression 0? The value of x that's going to make each one of these zeros. Now there's 2 ways to do this. You can just stick it in the opposite sign. So for the first one, do negative 2. Second one is going to be positive 3. So let's check that. X squared, good. Minus 2x plus 3x, that's just an x. Negative 2 times 3 is negative 6. Okay. Or, if that is too much to remember, although I think this way is harder, so either stick it in with the opposite sign, because these are the factors for this expression, or you can actually say, and then set this equal to 0. Minus 2, x minus 2 is equal to 0. Perfect. This is the factor. There it is, right there. Notice that they are the same. Okay, I'm actually going to do another one on a harder one. Please be advised. I mean, this ends up, and for the next one I'm going to show you is because if you end up with a fraction, I want to show you how to output that. But honestly, it's better if you can eyeball it. It'll go a lot faster. But if you get stuck, it is best to use the quadratic formula. So let's use it again on another one. And this one is one of, you'll just use an oldie but a goodie here. We got 6x squared plus 7x minus 3. Alright, so let's factor this. A is equal to 6, B is equal to 7, C is equal to negative 3. Plug it into my quadratic formula. B plus or minus the square root of B squared minus 4AC over 2A. I write that every time because then I don't have to think about it anymore. I'm not trying to do 2 things at once. Now I'm going to go back and plug everything in. X is equal to negative 7 plus or minus the square root of 7 squared minus 4 times 6 times a negative 3. Now, I already did the math on this. Let's do our 2a, 2 times 6. So if it looks like I'm a genius, it's because I already worked it out ahead of time before I put it on the video. So I'm not that big of a genius. So this ends up being plus or minus 49 plus 72 over 12, and 49 plus 72 is equal to 121. So this ends up being negative 7 plus or minus 11 over 12. So now there's two ways I can go here. I can do negative 7 minus 11 over 12 is negative 18 over 12, which is equal to negative 9 over 6, which is equal to negative 3 halves. Phew! Or I can do negative 7 plus 11 over 12, which is equal to 4 over 12, which is equal to 1/3. Now wait a second. I thought that this was going to generate factors for us. So I have x is equal to negative 3 halves or x is equal to 1/3. Well, the truth of the matter is that it has. It's just not as pretty as the other ones, which is why this was hard to factor in the first place. So in the same way that I did the other one, I'm going to show you, I'm going to work on the top one first. I'm going to set this expression equal to 0. Okay? But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take out this 2. Okay? So I'm going to go 2, 1, 2, 1. And then I have 2x is equal to negative 3. And then I'm going to add 3 to both sides. And I have 2x plus 3 is equal to 0. That's one of my factors. Okay? Now let's do the 1/3. So I have x is equal to 1/3. I'm going to get rid of that denominator. 3 over 1, 3 over 1. I have 3x equals 1. 3x minus 1 equals 0. That's my other factor. So now I have, I'm going to check it, 2x plus 3 times 3x minus 1. So 2x times 3x is 6x squared. 9x minus 2x is plus 7x minus 3. Please note, it generated the factors, and that's not a nice one. Those ones are hard, and I know they are. This is the method for using the quadratic formula to generate those factors. All right, use these strategies to work on the homework. We are going to come into class and we're going to do these some more, and we're going to have another quiz. So come prepared to work hard.